My favorite part of this Marvel intro to a Hawkeye show is that you have to play a game of Where's Clinto to even locate him. He flashes in the M here for like half a second.
Who the fuck cares? Who was sitting here and thought, I'm having trouble finding Clint in these opening logos? No one. Absolutely no one.
Sure, they're there, but in this shot, I can't see the hind legs of this giraffe, which makes me think of how a two-legged giraffe would basically look like a really tall person without arms and with a horse face and spotted fur. But my point is, two-legged giraffe.
Jesus Christ, this is what I mean when I say that the quality of videos TV Sins puts out have dropped very badly. There is absolutely nothing funny, satirical, or critical in this sin. It's a waste of time, and it's annoying.
Mommy said things don't just fall from the sky.
Well, pull out your Marvel reference bingo card, because you can mark off Invasion of New York on it. We're only 2 minutes in, and I'm already just a people disappeared in the blip and a free space away from calling bingo.
A whole bunch of bullshit.
This bisected narwhal. Why are all the animals in this room terrifying me?
Because you're a little bitch?
Mommy? Daddy? Where are you?
Well, she literally just said.
Okay, I'm gonna go downstairs.
So maybe start there?
Kate is a little kid in this scene, so why are you acting like she should be thinking logically right now?
Okay, so I've been working on this new impression, and this seems as good a time as any to try it out.
Generic bad guy soldiers whose abilities and shortcomings are never explained.
So it actually is kind of funny that they brought the original Jeremy's original voiceover from their Avengers video into this video, but the sin itself is still pretty dumb. I mean, are you telling me that you want them to sit down and give a lecture on the Chitauri rather than simply showing them in action?
Attempting to make Hawkeye look cool.
Hey, get that blasphemy up out of your mouth. Hawkeye is a fucking badass, and sins like this make it painfully obvious that you don't respect the Marvel comics in the slightest.
I'm still the luckiest woman in the world. Because I have the greatest little girl in the world.
And you didn't seem to like your husband very much and were weirdly jealous of the bond he and Kate had, so winning!
What the hell is this, Sin? What does the jealousy of Kate and her dad's relationship have to do with this line? Does logic not matter anymore?
We're watching Kate train in this opening, but did you see how quickly those 2 arrows hit that target? The only way she's firing off arrows that accurately and that quick at this point in her training is if someone skull matrixed archery directly into her.
My guy, this is an animated opening credit sequence. Stop acting like it should strictly be following real-world logic.
Wait, is that blood spatter? If you're getting blood spatter from a strike, you're fencing wrong.
No, that's not blood splatter. That's a breakable point. Fencers oftentimes use breakable points in order to more clearly see where their opponent was touched.
Present day. Come on, guys, we've been through this. If I watch this 40 years from now, will it take place in 2061?
Jesus Christ, I'm already losing my patience with the writers for this video. I get that this may be a joke, but that doesn't make it any less sinful. Present day refers to the present relative to the story's timeline, not the present in relation to the audience.
Get caught, you're definitely going to be kicked off the archery team.
Which brings the question, why are they on the phone right now? Kate's friends can see her up there, and them being on the phone doesn't change what she's going to do. Probably isn't anyone that will hear them talking this late at night, but why take a chance?
Do you not hear yourself when you're talking? They're using phones so that they can communicate quietly. If they weren't using phones, they'd have to yell to each other, which would attract more attention.
I know she's an expert archer and all that comes with it, but I'm still giving this a this works because, just like the Dennis Leary song says, I'm an asshole, yo-yo. What the? Setting your action series at Christmas time without Shane Black involved. Iron Man 3 wasn't that bad.
A whole bunch of bullshit. This fake-ass laugh.
We'll conquer the Chitauri. Then get Shawarma when we're done.
Why is the shawarma visit even mentioned in this musical? It seems like the musical referencing the movie we saw, not the actual events as they happened in this world. You're telling me the Avengers' casual dining experience at shawarma somehow made headlines enough that it's a key punchline in this song?
Yes. I mean, think about it for half a second. After the Avengers saved the city, and by extension pretty much the whole world, because that was Loki's plan, they're pretty fucking famous. So not only would people know about the shawarma thing, but we can also safely assume that the Avengers got interviewed after the battle, where someone may have mentioned it.
This whole thing is a bit ridiculous, isn't it?
Still can't believe he was an Avenger would be excellent at TV sins.
Okay, all of this blatant disrespect for Hawkeye is frying my brain. Throw up a solid 50 sins and move on.
I'm about to replace an irreplaceable clock tower.
But if it's irreplaceable, then how will you replace it? Do words mean nothing anymore?
This is what happens when you have millions of subscribers who think everything you say is hilarious. Newsflash, this wasn't even close to being funny.
We cannot be late, so go change. Meet us at the hotel and we'll talk there, okay?
I haven't actually told you the hotel we'll be at, but I'm sure if you get in a cab and ask for the hotel the rich people are at, they'll know exactly where to take you.
Motherfucker, do you not use your brain? They're going to a party, which means that it was a pre-planned event, which means that Kate already knew the location because it was already planned out in advance.
Christmas movie marathon.
I'm sitting Christmas movie marathons for necessitating conversations on what constitutes a Christmas movie. You know what I've decided? There's no such thing as a Christmas movie.
A whole bunch of bullshit.
It's necessary. You saved our city.
And put us in financial ruin for the next few years with all the destruction you helped cause, but we ignore that part.
Okay, the battle caused a lot of damage, sure, but the Avengers also literally saved everybody's lives, so it's safe to say that it was worth it.
It's nice of people in shows and movies to leave doors wide open when they're talking about stuff so our characters can get the info they need. It's so against human nature, yet they manage it every time.
Actually, it's really not against human nature at all. It's very realistic. People do this all the time.
So between this scene and the one at the beginning, I hope Kate's superhero name ends up being the Eavesdropper, because that is definitely a power she wields.
Why the hell is that a sin? You basically just said, Kate is really good at eavesdropping, and then sinned it as if it's actually a sin. But it's not, because it's just characterization.
Lucky for Kate, she has on the exact same suit the waitstaff is wearing at the event. How else would she accomplish the worst infiltration attempt ever?
Yeah, this is what happens when you cut episodes to shreds and leave out the context for your sins. Kate wore this outfit specifically because she knew it's what the waitstaff wears. This is yet another example of characterization.
Why don't we leave Eleanor alone, you old goat?
I don't know if Mustachio here ends up being a bad guy or not, but if he is, then here's a sin for the show making it this obvious. However, if Jack ends up not being a bad guy, then here's a sin for the show making it this obvious and not following through.
So you're sinning a red herring for being a red herring? What the fuck?
Let's go, bro.
And the director said, he's wearing a mask, so the apple's probably out, but let's have him say the word bro. It will accomplish the same thing.
And yet another example of Discount Jeremy's blatant disregard for the source material. The Tracksuit Mafia says bro as a reference to the comics they come from.
This scene only exists in case you ever wondered what the movie Cocktail would have looked like if Marvel directed it.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture reference that isn't a sin of the episode cliche.
It's a little late for TV, guys. I gotta pack.
But Dad, how would we get in the blatant news position without it on? Huh, Dad?
This sin made me cringe so fucking hard.
Cutting to the worst scene from Avengers Endgame. Well, except there was that scene where the Hulk was eating a lot of food, and that scene where Thor had a beer gut, and fine. Cutting to a top 10 worst scene from Avengers Endgame. Are we all ready to admit Endgame wasn't that good?
Yeah, here's another 50 sins.
Let me decide what I care about. I just wanted to see the pizza dog again, but no.
Discount Jeremy hates previously on segments cliche.
Wasn't all of this at the end of the last episode? It's like the 90 seconds of previously on before the opening logos wasn't enough, so you had to do another 20 seconds after them for a total of 2.5 full minutes before we even get to any new content.
Okay, but you already sinned this, so I'm counting this as a Discount Jeremy double dips cliche.
I don't know who Herman hired for his graphics, but this is a terrible representation of a piece of pizza. Come to Herman's, where you can get a single giant pepperoni, a random mushroom, and what might be toenail clippings on every slice.
Pointless nitpicking is pointless.
I started taking martial arts when I was 5.
Wow. Like a year ago?
Haley Steinfeld's a 25-year-old woman, so you can just go ahead and all the way off with that condescending noise.
Discount Jeremy is failing to see the point that this show is lighthearted, and that's why these little jabs Clint throws at her exist.
You're kind of my favorite Avenger.
Are you okay, by the way?
Clearly not. Did you hear what you just said? There's at least a concussion at play here.
Okay, every time you blatantly disrespect Hawkeye, I'm giving you 10 sins, starting now.
The tracksuits must have followed you from the auction to where I found you.
Which reminds me, how did Hawkeye find her in the first place? Does he have tracking tech left over from Avenger days?
Are you seriously questioning how Hawkeye, one of the world's greatest assassins, found Kate after seeing her on the news? What the hell, man?
Good thing Hawkeye knew about the age-old tradition of firemen leaving their jackets directly by open fire truck doors and their helmets on the front bumper. It's that hero college education finally paying off.
Actually, it's Hawkeye's ability to be observant that's paying off. See, you constantly talk about how Hawkeye isn't that good and doesn't deserve to be in the big leagues, but you fail to understand simple details like this. Clint is exceptionally intelligent and can adapt to new situations.
I don't want to spend the next half hour researching whether or not fire departments allow personalized stickers on their work vehicles. So instead, I'm going to send this plot-convenient sticker and send anyone who would want to advertise their LARP nerdness so boldly.
This took me a solid couple minutes to research, and there are no laws against firefighters putting their own stickers on a fire truck.
You did it all wrong. Let me fix it.
Is the idea that after years of combat training, Kate wouldn't know how to apply a Band-Aid to her forehead correctly? Way to undermine the intellect and basic problem-solving skills of your brilliant female lead.
Okay, first of all, it seems like you're trying to turn this into a sexism issue, which is bullshit. And second, the purpose of this scene is to show that Kate has a lot of practice with her bow and combat, but she has no actual field experience, so she has no idea what she's doing in this real situation.
The most miraculous thing about the Ronin gear is that it magically fits every body type. Head in a mode, eat your heart out.
Jeremy Renner is 5'9" and Haley Steinfeld is 5'8". I don't know why you think 1 inch should be making a big difference in who fits in the costume, but you do you, I guess.
You're just not going to listen to me, are you?
Why would she? She's not a child, and she barely knows Hawkeye. If the show thinks that his clout should weigh in on his ability to boss other people around, they should have done a better job at making us believe that anyone gives a shit about who Hawkeye even is.
Dude, Hawkeye is an Avenger and one of the world's greatest assassins. If you're in this type of situation with him, you shut your damn mouth and listen to everything he tells you.
Get changed. You look silly.
Easy there, Clint. You just combined a man orders a woman around with a women should look a certain way. If you aren't careful, we're going to think you're a legitimate asshole instead of this weird half-hole thing the show seems to be trying to do.
Jesus Christ, stop trying to force this sexism issue on the show. It's really stupid and everyone knows it's complete bullshit.
So, your scroll details your character's mission.
By God's bones, look at that sarding scroll. It's like a heavy-duty parchment with flame-detailed edges and fancy calligraphy instructions. And you're saying every player gets one of these? Who's financing this boffer? Elon Musk?
Yeah, I'm failing to see your point.
What are the rules here? Can everyone swarm one person and eliminate them? Everyone seemed paired up a moment ago, so how do you know when to switch to free-for-all?
Simply asking a question does not count as a sin. These questions all presumably have very simple answers.
I fought Thanos.
Yeah, and I'm sure that after I spun out and totaled my car trying to avoid an idiot driver that the bug that happened to hit my rear windshield right before the spin reveled at the chaos he thought he caused too.
Clint was referring to the Avengers' joint effort in defeating Thanos, which includes the army and not just Thanos himself.
Can't have that show up on my credit card.
No, they will charge.
Which brings the question, how is Hawkeye not charged to play already? Can anyone walk in and LARP for free until midnight? How are funds collected? How is the group funded?
Hawkeye presumably had to give his information to them when he signed up, and they're gonna charge him later. See, questions have answers, which means they're not sins.
Okay, all she said was why not. That's not a convincing argument. That's not an argument at all.
I was going to say Norma Bates would be excellent at TV sins and such, but then I thought, is why not an argument? So then I decided that actually it could be a valid argument.
Skip.
Is this my first rich person has fencing gear at the ready cliche?
How can it be a cliche if this is your first time saying it?
How many people get murdered by a sword each year in New York?
Well, technically swords are classified as cutting instruments and lumped with knives and such. Because, let's face it, knives are really just tiny swords. So a quick search says about 30% of murders in New York are by swords of varying sizes.
Okay, but you obviously knew what she meant, so stop trying to pull random bullshit out of your ass in order to force a dumb sin.
Kate Bishop.
Not Kate Bishop.
Kate Bishop is guy, bro.
Kate Bishop is not Guy.
Did Hawkeye just take a right turn into Deadpoolian silliness? Because the tone whiplash is real, bro, and Renner could really work on his Ryan Reynolds impersonation.
Why are you acting like the tone has suddenly changed? The show was lighthearted from the beginning.
Bro, I found her.
And he knows this. How? He can't see her face, and only moments ago he thought Kate was a dude.
Somebody with a bow just dropped through the ceiling to save Hawkeye. I'd say his assumption here is totally fair.
Whoa, a person that's probably important in the comics, but I don't know, just ended the episode by breaking the fourth wall and looking right at me. However could I stop watching now?
Is this sin supposed to be for the fact that you don't know who this is? 'Cause that's really dumb.
Yeah,
I'm crispy. I'm sipping whiskey. You off the clearance rack and they can't even list me. They taking shots, but they miss me. I tell them hush, 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 y'all ain't shit, B. Whole circle got the ammo, we gon' go around. Dogging motherfuckers like it's homeward bound. Hey, the in crowd, but we showing out. Yeah, they be vacating when we go to town.
Come on!
I know, right? This is essentially a previously on segment. We're pretty tired of it too, Mr. Renner. When does the madness end?
Discount Jeremy hates previously on segments cliche.
Drawing a dragon with boobs.
I hate being the overly literal guy, but since this joke wasn't funny, I'm gonna be. Those obviously aren't boobs, they're tiny arms.
I was prepared to send this show for taking this long for Echo to appear, or maybe send media in general for dragging their feet on planning an amazing character like Echo in center stage. But see, the problem is that I fucking love watching this diverse powerhouse of a woman burst onto the scene, and I can't help but give sins back.
So are you going to admit that you're full of shit now? Cause last episode you gave a sin for Echo being introduced at the end, but now you're removing sins for her. That's a contradiction if ever I did see one.
I was about to clear your name from the suit until you decided to crash through the skylight.
Yeah, but why not give her a heads up on what your plans were when you were last together? Instead of the "this is probably the last time we meet, here's my phone number for emergency" spiel from the previous episode, you could have given Kate a little more insight.
But he literally didn't think he was ever going to see her again. What don't you get about this? Why would you tell someone your plan when you don't think you're ever going to be involved with that person again? That makes no sense.
Also, what do you mean she decided to crash through the skylight? Kate is overconfident, but I have a hard time believing she'd opt for a purposeful roof crash.
Give me a break with this overly literal shit. You knew what he meant.
Is it normal to leap from high shelving units directly into freestanding wooden splinter shelves? I've never tried, but it seems like there were other directions Clint could have aimed.
So are you saying that someone who's running and jumping around a building while being pursued by his enemies should be stopping to assess where he's going to jump? That's dumb, because Clint actually wants to escape.
Hawkeye shoots an arrow while dramatically falling. Cliché.
And you continue to not know what the word cliché means. Cliché.
Hawkeye is shooting people in arms and shoulders and hands, and that's fine, but wouldn't the bad guys still be able to crawl to their weapons? I mean, the show won't let them so that Clint and Kate can escape, but in real life, I'm pretty sure at least one of the henchmen would still be a threat.
People with arrows inside their bodies should still be a threat? Boromir would be proud of you, but these low-level mafia henchmen would disagree.
If the goal is to kick Kazi over, just boot him in the poop rather than swinging around the thingy.
But swinging around the thingy worked, so why should she have done something different? If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Considering Kate has no understanding of each arrow's abilities, I find it odd she calmly aims for the dashboard of the car without fear of the possibility that her close proximity could place her in range of maiming, death, or dismemberment.
Do you really think that an inexperienced teenager should realistically be thinking through that scenario? Let me tell ya, none of us would be thinking at all in this situation.
When I'm often asked if you could learn any language instantly, what language would it be? I always say Mandarin. Seeing this though, I'm thinking that instantly learning ASL would be so fucking cool. Damn it, Marvel. Now I'm conflicted and I'm blaming you.
Discount Jeremy sends something he likes cliché.
This phone has a Rokit logo down here, and I have a sinking feeling that's an Easter egg, which reminds me that I want to know, but I also don't want to do the work to figure it out.
Please refer to the previous sin.
I know this may sound weird, but I've dreamed of this for as long as I can remember.
Telling someone you just met a day ago that you've always dreamed of being his partner? No, not weird at all.
But what you're saying is literally what the show is suggesting itself. You can't sin something you agree with.
My dad was fearless.
Who would name their child Fearless?
Try to stab your mom's fiancé in the face?
Plus, he has everything to gain from our mom's death.
These two idiots continue to have a conversation about all this inside a taxi.
They're in New York, bro. The taxi drivers there don't give a shit.
Anytime somebody show them type of tendencies, I just tell them no and okay. You ain't with the vibe, I ain't fucking with you anyways. I just tell them no, do my own thing. You ain't with the vibe, I ain't fucking with you anyway.
Damn you, previously awning. Did we really need to see the slaughtering of Slinky Arm Santa again?
Discount Jeremy hates previously on segments cliché.
What the hell is going on? And why is there an Avenger in my dining room?
Where?
Like I said last time, every disrespectful comment that DJ makes about Hawkeye is gonna be 10 sins.
Just go with me here. Jack is obsessed with swords, Kate is obsessed with Hawkeye, and Eleanor is so invested in Kate's being safely separated from Clint that I doubt anyone would take their eyes off of Clint long enough for him to do anything other than get his coat and get the f out. How did he get out with the sword?
Hold on 1 second. You know how throughout this series, and more specifically this exact video, the TV Sins writers are going to be making fun of Hawkeye for not being good enough and all that bullshit? Right. So while they say all of that, they're completely ignoring the fact that Clint can do shit like this, sneaking a sword out from under these people's noses without them suspecting a thing. So enough with the disrespect already.
Kate's always been confident. Never had to worry about her on that front.
Wait, they're having this conversation while she is sitting right f***ing there?
Do you really think this is an uncommon thing for parents to do? Obviously you've never met my parents.
Jack now sings the words to the Christmas song by Nat King Cole and is just offbeat enough to make me want to rip off my own ears and shove them down his generically European-sounding throat.
That's racist. Also, how is that a sin of the episode? How is this character being himself a sin of the episode?
You know what they say. Life is short. You never know what you're going to get.
Did he just butcher the life is like a box of chocolates quote from Forrest Gump? I don't care if this is a deliberate character quirk. Thanos was right. Dust this fool.
So you acknowledge the fact that this was deliberate, but you sin it anyway because reasons?
I guess getting laughed at by family is better than being alone in the holidays, right?
Putting aside the fact that being comfortable with your own company has inherent value in itself, the real sin here is that some people have no option but to be alone during the holidays. And I'm certain this was a very unhelpful reminder in what is a valid piece of escapism.
Jesus, what was the point of that sin? You basically just said that being comfortable by yourself is a good thing. And that is true, but the vast majority of people would agree that it's better to be with loved ones than by yourself on Christmas.
In previous episodes, we've seen Hawkeye get first aid supplies, so why is he risking the defrosting of all this fruity goodness instead of buying an actual cold compress? He knew where the mission was going. Why isn't he getting stocked up ahead of time anyway?
You don't have to lie, you know. Hawkeye does not know where this mission is going. He has no idea that Echo is setting a trap or that Yelena is going to get involved. He thinks he's going to be in and out without a fight.
Hey, yeah there.
I'm all for casual responses to non-life-threatening situations, but Pizza Dog just mouthed the entire upper layer of Cheez-Its. That deserves at the very least a more emphatic no.
Pointless nitpicking is pointless.
Believing Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Believing Die Hard isn't a Christmas movie. Having an opinion anywhere on the is Die Hard a Christmas movie spectrum instead of just enjoying Die Hard for the masterpiece that it is.
He says all of this bullshit and is still somehow employed.
You gotta show me how you just did that.
Asking a superhero their secrets. Huh, never mind, it's only Hawkeye.
Yep, that's another 10 sins.
That's why I'm here. I can't go home till I fix it.
Hawkeye is referring to all the people he killed as Ronin, so I have to ask, how will it ever be over? There's always a chance that some dead assassin's son or sister will come after him and his family for revenge, or a fist-chinned alien, or Michael Clark Duncan. The point I'm getting at here is that I don't see how Clint can ever be confident that his family will ever be safe from Hawkeye and Ronin's past.
Well, isn't that convenient? You cut out the context for this line. Clint was referring specifically to the situation with the Tracksuit Mafia and Kate, not his entire killing spree as Ronin.
Yeah, you should get some rest. You got a big day tomorrow.
No, she doesn't. What happened to...
But what I can do is ensure that your daughter stays safe.
You're going to include her in the mission just because she brought over pizza and a Christmas tree? Why is she even sleeping here? Shouldn't her mother be expecting her back home? If you want your two main characters to play together, just let them do it and stop setting up all these bullshit obstacles that you then ignore 10 minutes later.
Are you trying to tell me that you think Clint telling Kate's mother that he's going to keep her safe is an obstacle to them working together? Seriously? All that was Clint trying to reassure her mother. Also, the reason Clint is accepting Kate's help is because he realizes she'll refuse to stay out of it, and he thinks that she might be ready.
You know, I like to think of them more as our heroes.
Yes, and Hawkeye fans think he deserves his place in the Avengers. We all have our delusions, Kate.
And that's another 10.
Yeah, but what kind of ice wall? If the roof is high enough, a wall won't help your defense. You need to be certain the wall is higher than the roof. Go with ice dome, or at the very least, ice shield so that you can be mobile with your defenses.
A whole bunch of bullshit.
Oh, you guys are dedicated. Hawkeye sent me here on official Avengers business. I'm his partner / best friend, Kate.
The outright hypocrisy of Kate turning her nose up at the LARPers while simultaneously having a total lack of awareness of the fantasy world in which she herself is choosing to live.
This scene is absolutely hysterical, because the TV Sins writers literally just said the reason why the scene is good and counted it as a reason why it's bad. Everything he just said about Kate was characterization and is therefore not a sin.
I can probably help you out.
Wait, what? Kate is openly asking for an illegal favor in front of a group of people she doesn't even know, and the officer is immediately on board?
I mean, there are a lot of corrupt law enforcement officials out there. Plus, this officer knows Kate is with Hawkeye, who is an Avenger, which leads this woman to want to help him.
If you make it worth my while.
This is a request from the damn Avengers, and these guys are pulling a Dormammu? I know New Yorkers have a reputation, but surely the Avengers have banked enough goodwill in the last decade to cover fetching a few arrows.
Holy shit, do you see what just happened? In the previous sin, he said that the officer shouldn't be willing to help, but in this sin, he's saying that she shouldn't even be asking for anything in return because it's the Avengers who are asking. That is such a blatant contradiction, you can't make this shit up.
Looking for this? Or maybe it's the box cutter under the seat.
Kazi has a box cutter hidden under the seat and a knife in the sunshade, but not a single weapon actually on his person.
He didn't want to carry his gun or his knives around with him. You're acting as if Kazi should have already known that Clint was going to do this, but he had no reason to not leave his weapons in the car.
Hey, can I have my gun back?
Yeah, what do you think?
I was relieved that Hawkeye didn't give the gun back, right up until the point he threw it in a random direction. I don't care if he unloaded it first. He still left a gun somewhere in the middle of a used car lot where it can be found by literally anybody. Why not take it with him? He doesn't even have to use it. Or does the mere presence of a gun maybe make him realize how futilely ridiculous his archery superpower is?
Making fun of Hawkeye's archery superpower. That's another 10 sins.
I asked you to simply retrieve my arrows, not stage a play.
There are times when I remember that Clint is an asshole, and this moment is one of them. He did send Kate to a LARP group. What did he think was going to happen?
He thought they were going to give back his arrows without the extra shit?
No lights. No movement.
Title of my sex tape?
The no lights part works, but what the fuck kind of sex are you having that doesn't require movement? Is Discount Jeremy a virgin?
Good evening, sir. Can I help you with your bags?
This is, I'm sure, hilarious to somebody, but did Kate really need to help this man in order to use the elevator? All she really needed to do was follow him into the building once he opened the door. Does she think the grocery bags are hiding her bow and arrows?
By helping the old dude with his bags, she's giving herself a reason to be going inside the building, and if she carries the bags the whole way, the man has no choice but to allow her inside. Sure, she could just follow him in, but then she would be running the risk of raising his suspicions. This way, she's actually making herself useful to the man, which makes it easier for her to infiltrate the apartment.
I was talking to an Avenger.
Where?
Do I even need to say what the sin is here?
Kate, get out of there now.
What? Why?
That light's an alarm. It's a silent alarm for people that can't hear.
Well, duh. Wait, am I smarter than an Avenger? Oh, sorry. Never mind. It's just Hawkeye.
And that's yet another one.
If this was the only place that Kate was strapped in, then she is 100% swapping notes with Gwen Stacy right now instead of surviving this.
Not if she didn't fall far enough. How weak do you think the human body is? She didn't fall very far.
What it is, get down like I'm unloading the clip. That time that I've been chosen, y'all can never block my shine with a solar eclipse. Own the game like I was Activision. I just took the throne and never asked permission. Now I counted up like I'm a mathematician. Fuck anybody telling me I'm acting different. I'm like, fall back and don't test the beast. Say they want smoke but won't step to me. Otherwise they're gonna witness a grotesque defeat. Like die motherfucker, but don't rest in peace. Bitch, don't burn me, the info sure to be all on my dick. I spit so thoroughly. Y'all got next, but I live dope currently. Turning my cash into cryptocurrency.
He had widows implanted all over the world.
Previously on Black Widow... Wait...
Discount Jeremy hates previously on segments cliche. Are we gonna start every video like this?
Anna is supposed to be a Black Widow, and yet she manages to miss Yelena from this close? The only thing this needless saucer sacrifice will serve to do is piss off the British.
That's racist.
Hit her with the antidote!
Antidote to what? Who are these people, and what are they doing in my Hawkeye show?
This joke would work if you hadn't already proven that you're aware of the events in Black Widow.
Look what you did to my rug.
Title of my sex tape?
Nope, still not funny.
$20,000 down the drain, thanks.
So we're just throwing out rugs rather than having them professionally cleaned now? You can be rich, but don't be wasteful.
Pointless nitpicking is pointless.
Wait, this is your house? How can you afford all of this?
Well, what a brave soul. I mean, can you imagine asking someone a sexist like this? I mean, asking sexist a question like this? I mean, sexist someone a sexist?
Are you aware that the person who said this line is also a female, and therefore it can't be sexist? Also, asking somebody how they can afford something is not automatically sexist. For something to be sexist, it has to be targeted specifically at the person's sex, but this line was referring to the former Black Widow having gotten out of her assassin career.
Just a moment ago, Yelena had short nails, and now her nails are longer and manicured. So did her hands age 5 years and visit the nail salon?
You know what? I've gotta give it to the sins writers for this video. That's a real sin, and it deserves a sin back.
Yelena?
Yep, that's a Black Widow assassin trained in the arts of murder who happens to be pointing a weapon at a child and clearly mellow man. Yes, something acid trippy happened with the whole house changing around her, and yes, there could be dangerous folks around, but this is a child and a man that can barely make eye contact. Lower your weapon.
But you literally just said that she thinks there could be something dangerous happening. How can you say that and then still immediately sin it right after?
In the name of Clara Prast, this is an overabundance of greenery.
Let me stop you right there before you launch into your inevitable rant. Nobody cares.
Now you decide to do the credits and previously ons, which makes the flow of this episode so far, a flashback referencing the film you're presuming I've seen, a jump to the present day to make last episode's reveal make sense, then into opening credits, then back to last week's episode again to set me up for the 3 minutes that are left of this episode.
Well, when you're in as massive a cinematic universe as the MCU, it does kinda make sense. Also, patience is a virtue, Aaron.
And why are you wearing your archery suit?
I want to believe that these pockets are here for a reason, you know, for keys or a smartphone. Can we just see a massive rectangle phone thingy in a pocket to justify this pocket, please? Or maybe the outline of car keys?
Okay, this is what I mean when I say that the quality of these sins videos has gone downhill drastically. This entire sin is completely forced and has no bearing on literally anything, not to mention that it's stupid, because her phone and car keys could be in different pockets. The only reason this sin exists is because the writers couldn't come up with enough to say about the episode.
Why are people putting the sticky part of the Band-Aid on the wound?
Hey, CinemaSins fans, they just straight up lied to you. She did not put the sticky part of the Band-Aid on the cut. They edited out the shots where the cut was visible so that you wouldn't be able to tell that they were lying.
Kate Bishop. Hi.
That fake-ass laugh.
Are you really not hungry? That fight was so long.
I really would recommend eating something now because this tete-a-tete's on for all the quippy amounts of all of the forever until the end of some time.
But you literally just removed a sin for Florence Pugh being awesome. Why are you now adding one? This makes all the no sense.
Hey, Grills, it's Clint. Can I come up?
So, he won't put Kate in danger, but he will put Grills in danger. Noted.
To be fair, the Tracksuit Mafia is not after Grills, they're after Kate, so he's not really in that much danger for sheltering Hawkeye, especially considering that they have no way to connect Clint with Grills.
I love American Christmases. The tree, the presents, the super-powered reindeer, Rudolph.
I was ready to sin the fact that Rudolph isn't American, but turns out he originated on the pages of a coloring book created for a Chicago-based retailer in the 1930s. So here's a sin for Illinois instead?
Yeah, at this point in the video, they are literally just saying words and hoping that they have meaning.
He's still an Avenger.
Okay, now I'm lost. I thought we were talking about Hawkeye.
Remember last video when I started giving out 10 sins for every disrespectful thing he says about Hawkeye? Yeah, well, that rule is still intact.
It will not be difficult for me to complete this assignment.
Wait a minute, somebody hired you to kill him?
Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's Super Kate, making yet another unwarranted building-sized deductive leap into the truth with her plot-powered snow boots. Yelena describing her mission to kill Hawkeye as an assignment does not necessarily mean that she has an employer. For all Kate knows, Yelena has assigned this mission to herself, which would make sense given its revengey nature.
Okay, buddy, let's break this down real quick. Kate knows that an assassin is trying to kill Clint. She does not know that Yelena wants revenge. Therefore, why would she not think that Yelena was hired?
Character is somehow inspired to take action by staring nostalgically at all of the nostalgia cliché.
Yet again, you don't know what the word cliché means.
No, you said it's over. But it's not. Not for me.
Disrespecting someone else's desire for distance by stalkingly inserting yourself into their world without apology.
Well, you're completely missing the fact that this is characterization.
It's just a matter of time before the big guy gets involved.
Jesus.
No one saw that plot twist coming. Jesus is the big guy of Hawkeye? What a reveal! Wait, what? Listen, my confusion about this whole thing could have been easily avoided if people would stop playing the pronoun game.
The phrase big guy is not a pronoun, bud. Do you need to go back to elementary school, or whenever the fuck they taught that shit?
Okay, this is a classic example of something that looks badass, but what the hell was it actually supposed to do? Why did he even bother deflecting it? This wouldn't have even slowed down Hawkeye.
That last line was an insult, so here's another 10 sins.
Well, that's the guy I've been worried about this whole time. Kingpin.
As this infuriating pronoun game is concluded, even the deep dark depths of my dungeon of sinequity couldn't block the elated screams of the internet people permeating my person, which can only mean that it is supposed to be somebody important that I should already be aware of. Fine, tell me what movie to watch and I'll get caught up before the finale. 3 seasons of another TV show that isn't on Disney Plus, that may or may not be partly or wholly canon? Son of a and was into to the you.
Calm down.
It's hard nights, it paid off. That's real life, that's real life. This real life, I cannot explain what it feels like. I've been in this too with its tail lights. I've been in my room with its seal tight. Said I won't be here, now I'm here, right? That's real life. Gotta drive to the real right. If I feel like I've been making moves, but you stuck like a deer in a headlight. Gotta veer right, gotta clear.
In a tough year for everyone, Marvel's managed to give us something to look forward to. We've had a string of adventures with characters we know and love across 5 TV shows and 36 episodes of content. Thanks, Marvel! Of course, it also came with what feels like 7 years of previously ons and opening credits, so here's a sin instead.
Alas, this is the last time I get to use this sin for this show. Discount Jeremy hates previously on segments cliche. It feels like the end of an era. Also, based on what he was saying about the content and how he thanked Marvel, Discount Jeremy sins something he likes cliche.
There are no lines in this business.
But there should be, because without such lines lies a world where meat grinders are attached to the edge of desks.
A whole bunch of bullshit.
And here's a random jug filled with miniatures. You know, just in case you forgot we were in a LARPer's house and needed a reminder.
Pointless nitpicking is pointless. Man, I'm busting out all the old sins for this video, aren't I?
You should go home. You should be with your family. You can still make it in time for Christmas.
Kate, you're my partner.
Nice sentiment and all, but I feel like there's not a widow's chance in Endgame that he was leaving. Rather, Marvel just enjoys toying with our emotions with this will they, won't they partner bullshit.
What's your point? He starts out the series by wanting to end the situation quickly while simultaneously being annoyed by Kate, then finishes the story by accepting Kate as his partner. I'm failing to see the sin.
My, she's turned on us.
Okay, let's have a look at Kingpin's abilities. Criminal mastermind, highly intelligent, above average strength and durability. Nope, not seeing telepathy anywhere. So how the hell did he see through Maya's expert level poker face and figure out she was ready to betray him?
Did you not think about this script before you finished the video? You literally just said that he's very intelligent, but now you're acting like he shouldn't have been able to see through Maya's poker face? If he's intelligent, then it makes sense that he would figure it out.
Most of these labels make sense, but Icebreaker raises some questions. How often does Hawkeye come up against ice in such quantities as to require a specific arrow?
This show takes place right before Christmas. You know, in the winter. Let's think. Why would someone want an icebreaker weapon in the winter? Any reasons? Any at all?
So if you're gonna do this, I just want to know you're ready.
And short-term memory be damned, as Clint appears to have forgotten that Kate has already been doing this in stating she is well aware of the risk for all of the some episodes.
Okay, but she hasn't actually been going into the field and doing this for very long. Her experience has really just been training and then a few real fights. That doesn't automatically make her ready. He doesn't know if she's really prepared for this real-life situation.
Fighting aliens with a stick and a string.
Okay, Kate, we get it. He's woefully inequipped to be an Avenger. Lay off the guy already, sheesh.
And the disrespect continues with another 10 sins.
What are our assets? What are our threats?
Dude, what about your assets? Okay, there's no Shaeld, no Stark, no Cap, but what about Sword, Spider-Man, or even Ant-Man? Or does he only get to swap phone numbers when he becomes an Avenger himself?
First of all, that was another disrespectful dig at Hawkeye, so here's another 10 sins. And second, you mentioned Sword, Spider-Man, and Ant-Man. He probably has zero contact with Sword because he's never been involved with them, so we can rule them out. He's never really interacted with Spider-Man much at all, only in passing and in fighting against him, meaning that he probably doesn't even have his contact information, so he's out. And finally, there's Ant-Man. Scott is the one person who Clint actually might have been able to get in contact with, but I think it's safe to assume that he would be respectful of Scott's privacy after the events of Endgame, based on the fact that Scott just wants to spend time with his family, and that's exactly what Clint wants to do.
It's a weird flex, but sure.
Title of my sex tape?
Nope, this sex tape joke is still not working for you, bud.
In the window! In the window!
I've never dodged a sniper's bullet before, so I don't mean to judge too harshly here, but would Mr. Sniper have a much harder time hitting you if you crawled below the window as opposed to above it?
But you're forgetting the fact that these people are panicking as a result of the sniper who's shooting into the room. They're not thinking about shit like that.
Hey, you okay? Yes, but she should be a flattened and super dead Kate pancake.
Except the clip you just played showed Kate's descent being slowed by the wire. If you're gonna lie, at least don't show something that proves the lie wrong while you're telling it.
Does this really need an audible beep? Wouldn't a silent beep always be preferable, no matter the mission?
Pointless nitpicking is pointless.
I think even Penn and Teller would struggle to work out what kind of dark magic Kazi used to surprise Hawkeye from out of f***ing nowhere here.
Wait, so you're admitting that Hawkeye is a badass who would be super difficult to sneak up on? Finally, you're giving him a little bit of respect. It's still not enough, but it's a start.
Hey, bros!
Kate fires 3 arrows here, but there are 5 gun-toting tracksuit guys in total. Were the other 2 seriously scared off by a bow and arrow and a bit of high ground?
Anakin Skywalker would like a word.
I'm willing to believe that through channeling his inner MacGyver, Clint managed to create an arrowhead absurdly powerful enough to turn all of these lampposts into electromagnets.
Okay, that's the second time this episode when Discount Jeremy has admitted that Hawkeye is good at what he does, and yet he still consistently makes disrespectful comments about him. That hypocrisy deserves a sin.
Nice shot!
Okay, awesome callback, and I suppose none of this is particularly impossible, but you always have to ask yourself, wouldn't it be easier if Hawkeye pulled out another explodey arrow instead of this trick shot that he himself admitted to only having pulled off a few times? Or wouldn't it be easier for Kazi to step to one side instead of relying on the Force or some shit to catch this arrow? Or wouldn't it be easier to base your superhero show around an actual superhero?
What did I just say? Man, he keeps racking them up.
Prepare yourself for the whiplash of several boss battles all climaxing at the same time. If you thought the They Survived This-a-thon was over, you were wrong.
Why is this a sin? Why shouldn't the boss battles be saved for the climax? That's like storytelling 101.
I need to know what happened.
My goodness, Marvel loves previously on segments so much it's working one right into the middle of its damn finale.
Holy shit, I spoke too soon. This is actually my last time using this sin with this show. Discount Jeremy hates previously on segments cliche.
Kate, all of the survives, all of the this.
Okay, look, this finale absolutely sucked, so I'm failing to see how it's so difficult for you to come up with actual sins. All Kingpin did here was toss her around the room. Why should she die from that?
Police arrived just in time to be of no f***ing use to anybody in a finale cliche.
Discount Jeremy arrives just in time to misuse the word cliche. Cliche. I really don't want to have to explain this, so I'll give the short version. Laura was an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh no. I think maybe I made this full song extra credit scene exist because of the sin from episode 1, and I'm not sorry? Regardless, I can sin this all day!
Discount Jeremy sins something he likes cliche. Also, Discount Jeremy sings in a video cliche. Or should I say, he tries to sing.
Every time I get up, I end up on the ground. No matter how high that I climb, I fall down. I dust myself off and I do it again for